Hey guys, it's Ready Rogers, back with a new What If. And this is what if Deku was the descendant of Johnny Joestar and Gyro Zeppeli from Part 7, JoJo's Part 7. So, if you don't know what JoJo's is, I highly recommend you read it or watch the anime, but I recommend you read it. So, there will be some manga spoilers for JoJo and some of My Hero Academia. But before we start, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to get a notice of new videos. But don't forget to enjoy the what if. So with that out of the way, let's begin. We start off in Stone Ocean when Pucci resets the universe, and the events leading up to Steel Ball Run. When Pucci resets the main JoJo universe, he makes a mistake due to the situation with Emporio, with Johnny and Gyro. As in a hurry, he resets the universe. Now, I know all of you JoJo fans will berate me with comments saying Pucci has the power of heaven and just a mere thought he can do anything. So, it's pretty unlikely to happen, as I have one thing to say to them. This is a what if. I can literally make up any situation, but it's on the decision of you guys. So yeah, okay. So in the alternative universe, in the year 1840, this is the starting of Steel Ball Run. So yeah, a glowing baby would be discovered, as this year would be the first sightings of the emergence of quirks. This is because after Pucci died in the alternative universe, his energy spread throughout the universe, creating distant stars and planets, as a very, very small percentage of energy went to Earth, like giving life to barren forests, deserts, and oceans as well, as some of the energy went into the living beings of the planet, including humans and animals. And this is how quirks are integrated into Steel Ball Run. And stands are just a byproduct of a space meteor, if you didn't know that. Like Speedwagon explains it, as I'm going to say, there will be quirked animals, and also sentient animals, because some of them have stands like Iggy, and also the turtle. So yeah, as I'm going to say 1890 the Steel Ball, and I'm going to say in 1890 the Steel Ball would begin, as most of the events would go more or less in the same as in the manga, but some of the contestants have quirks. But remember, this is still about 50 years after the quirks emerged, so some of them are still banned in the US, as Valentine would see them as threat. And if you don't know who that is, that's the main villain of JoJo Part 7. He's the president. So yeah, as Valentine would see them as a threat to his plan. As Gyro will not die this time, he does have a quirk that makes him survive his encounter, which I'm gonna call Hit and Run, which practically means anything he hits he can teleport to. But it does take a considerable amount of stamina if it's from a long range, but short range it doesn't take that much. As after they trap Funny Valentine, after they defeat Valentine, Johnny and Gyro would continue their adventures throughout the world, as they would be some of the first heroes to emerge, as the world would start to see the values in heroes as they are considering to make it a profession. After 5 years, Johnny of course would marry Rina Higashikata, and they would settle in Japan like in the original, and Gyro would settle down in Italy. And after 20 years, JoJo Leon would happen, as if I remember correctly, JoJo Leon happened let me see, JoJo Leon happened in 2011 or 2010 or 2015, around that time, as everything in between Part 7 Part 8 would happen in the original, like Johnny dying by boulder and Gyro would just die of old age. And after 130 years, we are in the year 2040 as the MHA timeline begin. And why it's 2040? Because if you sort of watch the first episode, it said that if quirks weren't invented, we would be taking vacations in space, and I think that's the ideal time for us to start. And it also makes sense with the 200-year thing. So yeah, after 130 years, we are in the year 2040 as the MHA timeline would begin. We see Inko, who has just given birth to a baby Deku, as his father Hisashi Zeppeli and his mother Inko Joestar would be holding him, as Hisashi would remark about his star birthmark, as he says it just looks like everyone's star birthmark in the family. As over the generations, the Zeppeli, Joestar, and Higashikata families would have merged. And if you didn't know this, the Higashikata family is a direct descendant of Johnny, so they're sort of Joestars also, yeah. As we skip about 4 years, Deku is in his bedroom reading a book about horses, as Deku, while growing up, is sort of like Gyro and Johnny, as Deku is a little bit serious most of the time because of Johnny's personality, but makes jokes and is playful sometimes because of Gyro, but very, very few times, so it's pretty rare to see him happy, like for him to smile or make a joke once in a while. As the personality I could describe him would be sort of a mix of Giorno and Josuke, because that is the closest comparison I would have of Johnny and Gyro in the current JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. It's okay, yeah, so let's get into the what if. As Inko would come into Deku's room, as she would tell him that it was the day that they would have to find what quirk he had, as he would be excited, as he would have a wide smile on his face, as Inko smiles back thinking that's rare, as she tells him to get ready as they would go. After he gets ready to go to the doctor's office, as the doctor would inform him that he does not have a quirk, unfortunately, as Inko would ask him to check again, as the doctor would explain the same thing he did in the original about the joint and in his pinky toe, and Deku would be sad, but he wouldn't show it. As after they get home, Deku would just go to his room. After Hisashi arrives back from work, he asks how the quirk test went, as Inko says that the quirk doctor said he was quirkless. As Hisashi told Inko to let him take care of it, as Hisashi thought that this might happen. As Hisashi would go up to Deku's room, as he would knock on it. Deku tells him to go away. Hisashi would open the door to see Deku on his bed face down. As Hisashi remarks, even when you're sad, you still don't show it, huh? As Deku would respond by saying that he's not sad, as Hisashi would hug him and tell him it's okay to cry, as he would hug him, as Deku would cry onto his shoulder, as Inko sees this as well, as she would join in. As Hisashi says there was still one way he could be a hero, as Deku looked at his dad with a confused expression, as Hisashi would say he was saving this for until he was at least 10, but now is a good time anyways. As he was asked Deku what Hisashi's and Inko's quirk were, as Deku would answer by saying lightning fire breath and spinning fire breath and a vortex quirk, right? As Hisashi says, close, but our real quirks are fire breathing and telekinesis. As Deku's confused by this. As Hisashi would explain that the lightning and the spinning around it was a technique passed down in their family for generations. As Deku would be even more confused, as Hisashi says after school meet him in the backyard, as they don't live in an apartment anymore, as the Joestars or Higashikaras, I should say, And Zeppelis are renowned for their hero agency, as they are one of the top hero companies in the world, as they would make the double line hero gear, as Inko and Hisashi are heroes in this one. Inko is a rescue type hero using her telekinesis with a spin to move large objects, and Hisashi uses pyrokinesis, and yes, it is pyrokinesis for this one. If I don't know why I said fire breath, with the spin to create fire tornadoes to defeat villains, as he would be the number 4th to 5th hero under over Edgeshot and Miruko. And they would have this type of house, if you can see that on screen. It's sort of like the Higashikata household in part 8. Sorry about the noises, as that's still considered a part of the Joestar family, since, yeah, like I said, the Higashikata family are direct descendants of Johnny, as some of Deku's uncles and aunts and cousins also live in the house, as he gets along with them well, and some of them will be new, as, yeah, and you'll get to meet them like in the next few minutes. As in school, Bakugo would ask what quirk Deku has, as Deku would say that he was quirkless, as the whole class would laugh at him, except for his 2 younger cousins, as their names are Kira Higashikata and Kei Higashikata, as these 2 are brother and sister, as they know how strong Deku is even without a quirk, since he has that abnormal child strength which every anime protagonist has. As I'm gonna explain what Kira's and Kei's quirks are, well, abilities. As Kira's quirk would be also explosions, but he has to touch something to activate the explosions, as it annihilates anything, but not right now until he's a little bit older, but it does cause quite some damage. And Kei's ability is ice manipulation, which can only be activated if he touches someone. Sorry about that. As they talk to Deku a lot about the monsters they see, as Deku would be confused by this, as they would tell him that they always see a shadow figure behind him, as this would be the first signs of their stands. Yeah, you'll figure that out in a bit. And if you know who Kira is in part 8, I'm not gonna explain it, but for those newcomers, he's practically God, that's a major spoiler, but I'm gonna just explain it later, sorry. Now back to Deku, as it really doesn't bother him that everyone's making fun of him, as Bakugo would start to mess with Deku, as he ignores him like he does for the rest of the day, as Bakugo was pissed. After Deku would go home, as he would change into his clothes and go to the backyard. His dad said, "Good, you're here." As Deku would ask him why did his dad want to meet him in the backyard, as Hisashi would tell Deku that his training will start today, as Deku is confused, as Hisashi would say that his training would start today, as Deku is even more confused, as Deku asks his dad what's he talking about. And Hisashi would open a book, as he would explain to Deku what the spin is. If you don't know what the spin is, I'll give you a quick explanation. It's a state of perfect or near perfect rotation which produces a unique form of energy that can be applied to a multitude of uses. And the spin may be considered a counterpart to the ripple featured in the original timeline, as Deku would learn all of this as his father would look him in the eyes, as he would ask Deku if he was ready. Oh god, my legs. As Deku would say yes. A couple of months passed, as Deku would have gotten the basics down, as he would be on the level of Johnny when he started. And he can use a spin to shoot projectiles, when instead of fingernails, he can use small steel balls, as he uses them as bullets. Sorry guys, I gotta go somewhere. Sorry about that guys, I thought someone was knocking on my door. I'm sort of recording in the closet right now, because it doesn't get any of the noise outside. So yeah, where did I leave off? Yeah, okay. As after Deku says yes, as after Deku says yes, a couple of months pass, as Deku would have gotten the basics down, as he would be on the level of Johnny when he started, when he could use the spin to shoot projectiles. But instead of fingernails, he uses small steel balls. Not like that, you weirdos. As he uses them as bullets. These aren't as strong as Johnny's Act 1, which had several limbs with one shot. These can bruise enemies badly, but if he uses the regular shield ball, which is Gyro's, which his father gave him, he can knock out enemies, and he can also kill them later. He can also kill them later on when he's older. But I'm not gonna make him kill villains yet, as when he's as we skip to school. As when he's at school, Bakugo is bullying Kira, as Kira would be like Jotaro, but Jotaro when he was a kid, when he was nicer. So yeah, as Bakugo is bullying Kira, as Kira doesn't like to use his quirk on people, as he would be pretty kind when he was a kid, yeah. And you know where this name comes from, is Part 8 Kira, and K is Kira's sister, even Part 8. So yeah, as Kid Deku would step in front of Kira, as Deku would ask Bakugo to leave him alone, as Bakugo says, "And what if I don't, Deku?" As Deku says, "I don't particularly like violence, but if you mess with my family-owned friends, I'll kill you." God damn it, sorry guys, the phone turned off for a minute. "I'll kill you," as he has a serious look. Bakugo steps back for a bit as he orders one of his cronies to attack Deku. His crony tries to attack Deku, but before he gets there, Deku shoots one of his steel balls at him, using the spin. As when the ball makes contact with the kid, it bruises him badly as he flies to the ground, as the ground starts to spin at an incredible rate, as it would make sort of a dust cloud, as Bakugo and his other cronies couldn't see, as before they could see anything, Deku would shoot another shield ball at his crony, as he would be sent to the ground, as both of his cronies would run away, as Bakugo says, "Come back here, you cowards," as Bakugo looks at Deku, as he says, "If you want something done, you have to do it yourself," as he charges at Deku using his explosions to charge himself. As before Deku could react, he would get an explosion in his face, as Bakugo thought the battle was over, since he's still that cocky person. As what Bakugo didn't know was that Deku had his fist in his stomach, as he used the spin to power his arm, making a spinning punch as golden lightning was surrounded in its spinning motion. As Deku would punch him, sending Bakugo flying as he would hit the ground, as he would spin incredibly, as he would spin to the ground, giving him some scrapes on his arm. As Deku would have had his flesh in a spinning motion, as blood would come out of it, as the teacher was toughness immediately, as it would call Inko, as Hisashi was unavailable, as Inko and Mitsuki would scold Deku and Bakugo, as after they scolded them, Bakugo would shout at Deku saying why didn't he tell him about his having a quirk, as Deku says he's still quirkless, as Bakugo is confused. But before Bakugo could ask more questions, his mom takes him home, and Deku's mom takes him to the hospital to get re-evaluated, and also to get him healed up. We do a time skip to the present, and during this time skip, Deku would have gotten the hang of it. As Deku would hang a lot more with Kira and Kei, as he can show his true personality around them. And also Kei and Kira's stance would have manifested as Killer Queen, the Part 8 version, and Born This Way from Part 8. They are on the screen if you want to know what they look like, and their abilities would be listed too. Deku has mastered most forms of the spin, as he's still trying to learn the golden rectangles, the golden spin and the cavalry spin, as it's the end of school. As the teacher would ask them what they wanted to be, as he would throw the papers in the air and he says, "I know you all want to be heroes," as the entire class would start showing off their quirks, except for Deku, who was still reading, as Bakugo would say, "Don't love me within these sidekicks," as the whole class would get mad at him. As the teacher would tell the whole class to calm down, as he would say, "Now Bakugo, on your application form it says that you wanted to go to UA," as he thinks, "Well, you will get in without any problems. I'm sure of that. Your grades are good, and your quirk is quite powerful. Just don't forget us, okay?" As Bakugo says yes, as all of the class even thinks that Bakugo could get in easily. As the teacher says, Izuku, you also applied to UA," as no one's laughing this time, as they know that Deku's quirk is powerful, as he would eventually have to register quirk, like I said. As he would name him Energy Spin, as the class does think his quirk is strong, but they don't think it's strong enough to get into UA. Maybe the B class, but not the A class. As Deku says, "I don't care what any of you think. All of you are B class at best," with an annoying smile, as he says that with an annoying smile, as the whole class starts shouting at him, as he stands up and leaves the classroom, as his teacher says, "The class isn't over, Izuku," as Deku says, "Just give my homework to Kira later," as he doesn't really care since he gets the best grades even though he skips classes, as his parents have been trying to fix that about him. As when he's headed home, and forgot to mention, Kira and Kei are the same age as Deku, but they were just born in different months, so they are sort of his little cousins. So yeah, and Kira Queen and Killer Queen and Born This Way, you can only see them when they're attacking someone. As Deku can see them even though they don't attack anyone. Sorry. As when he is headed home, he still decides to take the shortcut through the underpass. As while he's doing this, we skip to the sludge villain as he's running from All Might, as he thinks, "Why did I have to take this job? Why did I have to even rob that grave?" As we see what seems to be a rotting hand on him, as we see All Might following him as the sludge villain would still hide in the sewer. As when Deku walks over the sewer drain, the sludge villain would hold Deku hostage, as he would say, "Stop struggling, kid. The faster this is done, the better." As he tries to take his body, Deku tries to use the steel balls to use the spin, but he couldn't since he was getting suffocated, as he uses in his hand to make a vortex in the sludge, as this works a little too well, as the hand that the sludge villain had would merge with Deku, as it would shoot a blue fingernail in a spinning motion, as the sludge villain would be cut in half, as the power of the merging would make the sludge villain explode everywhere. As Deku cleans his uniform forms, as he would stare at his hand, thinking what that was, as he sees that his fingernails are blue for some reason, as he thought he saw a pink elephant sticking out of it. But before he could investigate more, he would hear All Might, as he would say, "I am here," as Deku would look, as he would say, "All Might?" as he's surprised, as Deku would ask why he was there. All Might would tell him if he has seen a sludge villain around here, as he would point to the sludge everywhere, as All Might would tell him he couldn't use his quirk in public, as Deku apologizes, as he says, "Never mind, using in self-defense after all," as he gives All Might an empty bottle he had to collect the sludge, as he helps All Might do that. After that, Deku tries to get away, but All Might stops Deku and asks him if he's seen a body part of some sort, as Deku says he didn't, as All Might feels that Deku is lying. Since Deku is really bad at lying, since he's Joestar and a Zeppeli, their personalities would interact, as All Might would ask Deku what his quirk was, as he would tell him it's called energy spin. As All Might accepts this, as All Might would let Deku go, curious about him, as Deku would go home. And the Sludge-Villain attack wouldn't happen since Deku never held on to All Might after he jumped off, as he goes home to his family, as Kira and Kei welcomes him back. As Deku would just go straight into his room, but while he's going, Kira and Kei see something odd, as he sees a little elephant head poking out of it, tusk poking out of his shoulder. As they're confused about this, as they thought Deku didn't have a stand, and yes, they would have learned it was a stand, as Deku's great great grandpa would explain it to him, and his great grandpa, I'm just gonna call Norisuke as a tribute. So yeah, as Deku would go into his room, as Deku would try to call out Tusk, as Tusk would come out of his hand, as Deku would ask, so what exactly are you? As Duck says, Chumi-me. Sorry. As Deku starts to poke it, as he feels something poking on his face, as he figures out that any damage that Tusk feels, he feels too. As he feels he has read a family book on this one. As he goes to his great grandpa's room, as his grandpa Norisuke would welcome him, as he asks his grandpa to explain him that legend he told him one time. As he asks confused, legend? As Deku asks the legend of Johnny, Joestar, and Gyro Zeppeli. As this is where I'm gonna have to end it. Yeah, sorry. Like always, if you want the next part, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And bye. And the next what if I'm gonna release is what if Deku had the Speed Force, so was a speedster. So yeah, bye. Oh my god, that was